Yo. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back to 10 Minutes with Teo. You're here with your host, Mateo. I'm going to get right into it. That was Let It Be by the Beatles on piano, one of my dad's favorite songs. Yeah, man. So, just want to go part two of talking about, losing my father and just the journey that we've been on as a family and that I've been on through this tragic loss. And like I said, my dad was my best friend, so it wasn't like some, just like me and my dad were estranged or we didn't have a good relationship. Nah, my dad was there like my whole life, taking me through everything, guiding me through, and always taking us on adventures, man, and teaching us everything we know, from music to, science and school and education and sports and adventure and everything, man. So, but yeah, just going home and having to experience, going through the funeral. First, like when I went home, I'm like, I know now I got to be the man of the house, for my mom and my sisters, and just be there. And seeing them go through it was extremely hard for me, and having my moments and having them be there for me, but knowing that I had to be strong and be there, be a shoulder for them to cry on when they needed. And I knew that role kind of immediately, like I felt that. And when I first got home, I was like, I got to start a GoFundMe. And GoFundMe is a great website for people to fund, emergency funds or, fundraise for whatever they need in life. And a lot of the GoFundMes go towards funerals. And I always was curious, like, oh, dang, like $10,000 seems a lot, $20,000, or some people have $50,000, But it wasn't until my grandpa Jojo passed away and we went to his funeral, and it was a very small funeral. And my aunt told me that costed $10,000, like just for that small funeral. And I was like, whoa. So I was really, like, my eyes were open to the cost of just everything that goes involved with the burial and having a casket and a service and things like that, which seems outlandish to me, that people would charge that much for you to properly, send your loved ones out. But I guess that's the way of the world. But I immediately knew that I had to make a GoFundMe. And my mom, as humble as she is, she didn't want to accept any money. She was like, no, like, we don't want to ask for stuff from people. And I was like, nah, like, we have to, I already knew what was going to transpire, just lost my dad. So, I didn't know financially what's going to happen with things. And so I made the GoFundMe, and luckily I have so many loved ones, friends, and supporters who, like, it just kind of went viral instantly, and like people were just donating, and I think we got up to like $30,000, and it was awesome. And we needed it because expenses ended up being like, like $25,000 just for like casket, burial grounds, freaking services, and then, kind of a little party or function after, like, where we're serving food and everything that just goes into it, travel, buying clothes for the funeral, and all sorts of stuff. It was crazy because I came just from like Pennsylvania with all my wrestling clothes. I didn't even have any like regular clothes to wear, so it was just crazy. But yeah, just the whole funeral and everything, like, my family really helped out a lot, so that really went smooth. And it's just a crazy feeling sending out your own dad. Like, the craziest part is you spend your whole life with somebody, and your dad is your role model. Your dad is he's your guide. He's your, and he as a man, he's your guide through life and shows you the way. And, I used to be a little troublemaker, get in trouble a lot, and my dad always, kept me straight. He was, strict on me, and, he always made sure I did well in school and made sure I worked hard. Like, he instilled that hard work in me. And just to see, like, my own guide and my own role model, unfortunately, like, commit suicide, like, and just not be there anymore. It's just, it's shocking, and it really changed my life in terms of like understanding that, I don't have a father anymore. I may have father figures or positive male role models in my life that I can trust and seek for guidance, but I don't have my own dad anymore. So I have to be a man. I have to become a man, and it was just kind of a succession of like how my life was going, like, as if God planned it. And not to say like he planned for my dad to kill himself and all these tragic things, but just the way they all transpired, like my losses and being humbled and going through all these crazy things in these dark times, which really started to change me and change me as a man and change my heart and my mind. And then, my father passes away and I lose my physical guide here on earth, my male role model. And so I'm forced to take on this role of, newfound manhood in my immediate family, in my nuclear family, and taking care of my mom and my sisters. And my mom really didn't want that pressure on me. She's amazing, and she's so strong and so powerful, and she's always been self-sufficient and, in her ability to also provide and take care of us, and, never feel like she has to ask for a handout from anybody. But, she didn't want me to feel like I had the pressure to like hold it all on my shoulders. And I didn't, but I do feel the responsibility. I feel like God really put that on my heart, and me understanding like I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm not a teenager. I'm a young adult. I'm 23 years old, and, this is the time for me to really step up in ways I've never had to before. And yeah, it's an emotional time for everybody, and just trying to figure out how to navigate these feelings, feeling angry, feeling like abandoned. I definitely felt like I can't believe like you left me, you left us, that's a natural feeling, especially with suicide. The hard part about it is like knowing my dad was healthy. My dad would go on runs, hikes. My dad ate, well. He was healthy. I thought he was going to live to be 90 to 100, Even his own father still alive. My grandfather, like my great-grandfather, lived to be very old. And so I just saw that in my father. And now that he's gone, passed away at 63. And knowing like all these years that I thought I was gonna get to spend with him, like I won't have anymore, and that's one of the hardest parts to accept. Like knowing my own kids won't have a grandfather, knowing I won't get to spend any more time with my father. As I grow older, he'll never get to see me get married or see my sisters get married or see my sisters' kids, and be there for Summer, who's young, who's only 10 years old, and all these things that I have had to really battle with internally and externally too, and just like come to terms with. But that even puts a greater purpose and responsibility on my heart to know like I have to be there for them, what I mean? Like I have to be there for my sisters, to walk them down the aisle if that's what they choose, or to be there for their kids, or to be there for their graduation and this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? Like that's just on my heart and on my mind and on my soul. And so I'm grateful for all the people in our life who have stepped up and supporting us, because I am here in Oregon and they're still in California. So, I came back out here after the funeral and stuff, after spending a couple weeks at home to pursue my dreams and my own journey and my own story, and conquer, all the adversities that have come against me. But, I'm just super grateful for the people in my life and their lives and in all of our lives as a unit that have supported us through this time and that we're still going through. But yeah, man, it's a lot to digest and understand. I've definitely been hurt and I've been sad, and it still weighs on my heart, and it will probably for the rest of my life. But I'm grateful I have positive outlets, and I have my own story to tell through this, and that I can hopefully connect to others and bring people hope and still find joy in daily life, and not feel like I have to follow down the same path or the same narrative. So, coming up on 11 minutes. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all, man. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Peace.